you in the whole 6010. Fantasy Focus.
Welcome into Fantasy Focus Football alongside Field Yates and Stephania Bell. My name is Daniel Dopp. It is Monday, August 18th. Another mock draft Monday that we are bringing your way. 10-team league. Pretty standard across the board for what we're going to do, so we'll dive into that because we love being able to do mock drafts, let you see which direction we would go if we were on the clock. But first and foremost, so great to see both your beautiful faces. How are your weekends?
Pretty chill because we got a big week coming up.
We have a big week coming up.
We do. I was going to say mentally and I guess apparel-wise, I'm already in the Bahamas.
Started.
Yeah, the entire building. Well, I don't know, like the 4 people I've seen since I walked in the building today have been mentioning to me that I look like I'm in the Bahamas with the shirt that I am wearing right now. But yeah, big week coming up. We'll be in the Bahamas. And just a programming note for those that are loyal daily listeners or viewers. So we got a show today. We got a show tomorrow, Tuesday, tomorrow, Wednesday as well. And then we're going to be doing content all throughout the week in the Bahamas, asking for a bit of patience because you're not going to have something Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern time like you normally do, but we guarantee you there will be
We're going to be on
editions.
island time. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
We'll be on island
Good call,
time.
Stephania.
So, yep. But you'll get your usual fix all the way through Wednesday and then Thursday, Friday, maybe even some bonus content over the weekend. We'll be ready to rock and roll.
It's going to be a ton of fun. We cannot wait. You know what? Why not just say this then? It's the last day we get to do this. The ESPN Fantasy Football Ultimate Draft Weekend is back for year 2. From August 21st to the 24th in the Bahamas. Enjoy an oceanfront stay at the luxurious Baha Mar Resort and exclusive events like our one-of-a-kind beach combine. You get to mingle with celebrity guests and NFL players throughout the weekend, including Todd Gurley, Golden Tate, and Kyle Rudolph. Then get insights from your favorite ESPN Fantasy Football experts before drafting your squad at our epic live draft party. Go check it out. Either scan the QR code on your screen or it's bahamar.com/draft if you want to be able to get a last-minute seat to come down and hang out with us. All right. We're doing a mock draft today, my friends. Field, you and I did our first, I think, draft of the season last night.
Yeah, we were in on one last night, which was very fun. There were some interesting things that I was thinking about. Do I just unload them right now at the top of the show? What I've decided to do is when some of the more interesting players go off the board during our mock right now, I might make some reference points because there is just a little bit of a different energy when you're making a pick that counts for real as opposed to a pick that you are doing as we are right now in a mocked draft scenario. So
Bro,
yes,
all these picks count for real. Do you not think the YouTube chat poll at the end isn't real?
I mean, it is real when it votes for me as the best team. Otherwise, it's not real. But
I think the last one, I won the last one, and you guys neglected to acknowledge it.
I actually not sure. I thought that Daniel won the last one.
No,
right?
I won the fantasy marathon draft. Is what it was.
Yeah.
So
got it.
Yeah, we got it. Definitely today.
Not
We
that
can't
I'm
let
looking
Field
or
win,
anything, but
Stephania.
I was looking.
Yeah, that's all right. So Stephania's got one belt for her for these YouTube polls. Field has too many. We don't count them. I still have yet to be able to draft a team that our YouTube chat likes. So
hold on now.
If you're in the YouTube chat,
you're trying to.
You are totally trying to manipulate the vote.
You know what I'm not doing?
Influencing votes right now.
Not with the way that I draft, I don't. I'll tell you what. I pick the players that I want to pick. So
right, let's do this then.
Yeah,
so
let's just dive in.
Picks. We've got 10 people here. So our staff is making up 7 of the picks. And then, of course, we have our 3 selections that we will be working with.
Yes, we do. Fields, you are picking from the 4 spot.
Yep.
I am picking from the 7 spot. And Stephania, you are coming from the 10th spot.
I get the turn.
You get to be at the turn. Field, how you feel just while we're waiting for these first couple picks to come off the board? 4 spot. I mean, we've done enough mock drafts. Do you have a spot you like?
There's actually a little bit of pressure. I like being in the middle. I've stated that previously. I like being in the middle. My favorite pick this year is 5.
Really? Okay, so
yeah,
you're close.
Because I think there's 5 players that represent like the top of the heap this year in fantasy, so I'm totally cool with getting the leftover of Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
So I have 4, which means I'm guaranteed one of those 5. That's the good part. The hard part is that there's going to be pressure because there's going to be 2 of those guys available, Justin Jefferson and Saquon Barkley, and I have to pick between those 2 high-caliber players. I'm going to go with Saquon for this reason right now. Oh, I drafted Justin Jefferson. Well, I would have gone with Saquon. That was a mistake, but I don't care.
Let me really quickly, hold on. I want to set the table for 2 seconds. Coming off the board, just so that everyone knows, we got Jamar Chase and then Bijan Robinson and then Jahmyr Gibbs comes off the board before Saquon. And then Field, you decided to go.
I meant to take Saquon Barkley,
This
but I
is
fat.
This is very appropriate. Actually, we should talk just briefly. This is what happens in real drafts when you're like, oh, I hit the button. I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
We talked about you could be that guy or you can roll with it.
Took Brian Robinson 2nd overall instead of Bijan. I was going to take Saquon over Justin Jefferson for this reason. Is that as of this moment, Justin Jefferson remains off the practice field. He is progressing, and Kevin O'Connell, Stephania, I think would probably rank in the top at least
He's
5
right
or
up
10.
there. Amongst my favorite coaches for
Very
being
transparent.
Yep.
That being said, he's still not back practicing yet. So if you wanted to make the case for splitting the difference between Saquon and Justin Jefferson, it would be as simple as, hey, he might not practice until much closer to the start of the regular season. He's going into the year banged up, or at least has been dealing with something during training camp where, by all accounts, Saquon has looked not just healthy, but excellent. So no surprise in the first 5 picks, though, those guys being the first 5 selections.
Yeah, after Saquon comes off the board,
here's an
Christian
interesting
McCaffrey at running back 6, then CeeDee Lamb, Ashton Genty, and Devon Achane.
This is interesting here.
First time in the first round, I think, for us.
Maybe, but what's more interesting for this is that Devon Achane's going to miss some time, and Mike McDaniel not trying to win Stephania's favor, because he described the injuries for Devon Achane and Zach Sealer, who's an outstanding defensive tackle for them. This is also a notable injury, as injuries that could cost them between days and weeks.
I don't like that.
So yeah,
I feel sorry for Mike McDaniel though, because literally the injuries that he's had to deal with talking about in the last couple of years have been incredibly difficult, to his concussion issues, their running back issues. So I don't blame him for being like, I don't want to add any more drama to the mix.
All right, well.
Yeah, so I thought there was a chance that Devon Achane could slide a touch. But again, like we've seen this before. I want to remind people of something that happened a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago by now, that like has totally and forever warped how I approach late preseason injuries. Do you guys remember Austin Eckler hurt his hamstring in practice? Like 8 days. No. It was like the Monday of the first week of the regular season. We had a draft the night before the season began. It was the War Room League draft. And he was like, going between, let's call it 1 and 5. He ended up going to, I believe, he went to Mina Kimes, and I want to say it was like pick 15. Mina won the league that year. And Eckler was incredible. So it's always the tug, the push and pull.
I didn't even hear the content. I'm just blown away by the
unimportant
memory.
stuff that I remember.
That's the thing.
If it's something that matters, like if you want to remember my own social security number, no chance. But if you want to know where the guy who gave me my social security number went to college, I got you. Texas A&M
And
Corpus Christi.
what his 40 times
Yes.
was? What was his 40 times?
Yeah, he had 4.72. He felt like it was a slow turf that day. Anyways, so unless we have like absolute certainty, clarity, you still have to account for the possibility of saying YOLO and still taking a guy in Devon Achane, who is really, really talented. And of course, we've talked about how he can get the job done in multiple ways. We are cruising here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm going to
So-
recap us really quickly. And Stephania, you made a couple of picks since then. So
did make a couple of
I took CeeDee Lamb after Christian McCaffrey with the 7th pick of the first round. Then Ashton Genty, Devon Achane, and you went with Puka Nacua and Jonathan Taylor. Were you trying to specifically to get a running back and wide receiver, or were those?
Well, I
just the
felt
two
like
best?
that was the two I wanted that spot in the draft. They were the two best available to me. Puka Nacua. Like, I don't think I really need to defend these picks.
No, absolutely not.
I don't think there's a whole lot to say. If you're wondering if I'm worried about Matthew Stafford, I am not. And look, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have risk. You're 37 years old. You have a back problem that's flared up again. I do think that they're managing it in a way they expect him to be ready for week 1. But I also think that Puka will thrive anyway, even if Jimmy Garoppolo is under center. So I'm not worried about that. And Jonathan Taylor's Jonathan Taylor. So there we go.
And after that, we had Malik Neighbors, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown went the pick right before me, which seemed rude.
One more thing, by the way,
Okay,
on
go
Malik
ahead.
Neighbors, who also hasn't practiced in 11 days. 11 days since Malik Neighbors' last practice.
Yeah,
that
now
to me
he's
is
back.
notable. Yeah.
And I do think that Malik Neighbors misses a fair amount of practice, even during the season.
Last year he did,
he missed a lot. He definitely had the toe ankle thing is something that I keep my eye on because this has come up a couple of times. He's got an issue there. I think it's going to have to be managed during the season. So high risk, not high risk. I shouldn't say high risk. I don't mean that. Don't let that go viral.
Hold on.
Undo.
Here we go. Ready?
But there's
hold on. I'm going to go TikTok live. Can you say that one more
Real
time?
fast.
I meant high reward, but it carries a little bit of risk because we know that he gets banged up pretty easily.
Now, by the way, that goes back to college. He was like one of the, remember, scout told me, like, I tell you what, man, like Sunday to Friday, you're like, is he going to play? We don't know. Is he going to play? And then Saturday, it's like 7 catches, 152 yards and a touchdown. Like this guy is money when it matters.
Remember DeAndre Hopkins? He was the king of not practicing and showing up on Sunday.
Yep.
All right. After Amon-Ra St. Brown went, I was on the clock for my second pick, and I ended up going with Derrick Henry, with the best running back I thought was on the board then. Then Josh Jacobs, Nico Collins, and Field. you were on the clock and you decided to go with the tight end.
I did. Brock Bowers, who
Broke
I'm
the seal.
realizing more and more, and I think this is that Brock Bowers is going to be one of those players that's really hard to get in drafts. And I guess you have an equal chance of getting most of these guys, right? But the bottom line is that what I've seen with Brock Bowers, he falls into a category of guys that are going earlier than the consensus rankings because people are realizing that they're all after the same commodity, which is this rare tight end. There's another player that I'll use to exemplify what I am talking about a little bit more once he actually comes off the board. But I've seen Brock go earlier in drafts.
By the way, he made another incredible catch in a preseason game. Like, ridiculous. If you had any question, if you thought there was going to be any difference in what you got out of Brock Bowers this year, this just did.
He is good at football.
He is
yeah.
good at
You know how you do this thing where you're supposed to, like, sometimes go against what you have been saying about players. It's like it's to me it's like hedging against yourself. It's a very unpredictable thing that we do.
Yep.
Made it clear that Tyreek Hill is one of the wide receivers that makes me quite nervous.
Wow.
I took him in the third round anyways, right? Because he's a swing player, right? This is a show we may do later on this preseason. Guys who just have these huge range of outcomes that the good side of them can win you your league, right? The downside of them could result in a pick that you dramatically regret. I think Tyreek Hill fits in that category so much more than like someone who might go in a pick from right now, Lamar Jackson. Like Lamar having an amazing season. We've seen that multiple other times.
Yep.
We saw it last year, and he could still Lamar could have an amazing season like last year, and Josh Allen can be within 15 fantasy points of him, right? Lamar's not going to have a terrible year this year if he stays healthy. So there are other guys who have a narrow range of outcomes, which makes them safer picks in fantasy football. But that's part of the reason why you're getting Tyreek Hill in the middle of the third round as opposed to like fifth overall where he was going last season.
Yeah, before that pick field, just so that people know who was on the clock, you ended up taking Brock Bowers in the second, and then Bucky Irving, Brian Thomas, A.J. Brown, my guy Chase Brown, Drake London, Ladd McConkey came off the board, and that's where you went with Tyreek Hill then. We had Trey McBride and T. Higgins come off the board after that, and I'm back on the clock. I've already got Derrick Henry and CeeDee Lamb, and I think that I'm going to probably go with another wide receiver spot because I still think that Devontae Adams is just really good at football, man. I don't care that he's 32 years old. I'm not worried about the back. If Stephania's not worried about Matthew Stafford's back, I'm not worried about Matthew
Updated
Stafford's back.
status, are you?
Yeah, I just want to remind people that not being worried means, like, I expect him to play. I think that they're managing it well. But it doesn't mean zero risk. Like,
sure.
if there's an issue and all of a sudden Matthew Stafford's having trouble with his back, we're not going to be surprised. This is what happens with back problems. But I am not overly – when we get to right before week one, if he's still – like, there's time. I think this is a built-in structured
But part of the not being worried is you had said, like, they've got a backup that you trust in Jimmy Garoppolo that even if Stafford misses times, like, he is a competent NFL quarterback to get the ball to his wide receiver.
Where
all
are
of
you
a
on
sudden-
Jimmy G? Like, as a 49ers fan,
Yeah, that's
what's
the
your,
question.
like, because he's taken some turns since, like, the best version of Jimmy G, which with your Niners was a
Super
guy
Bowl.
who took him to the Super Bowl.
That's right. I know, and I think people forget that. Remember, who was it that made fun of me in the draft when
Probably Mike.
It was probably
Was
Mike.
it Mike or you? Somebody
Wasn't
made
me.
fun of it, and
I would
I
never.
was like, he was in the Super Bowl, so you can mock all you want, but we were there with Jimmy G as the quarterback. I think he's good at ball distribution. He's got the experience now. I do think there's pressure off sometimes with these guys who are backup.
Totally.
And yeah, I'm not worried. I'm going to make my pick here.
Yeah, you're on the
I'm
clock. You took Jonathan Taylor and Puka Nacua as your first two picks. You're back for the turn here. So
really
two
interesting
more.
because I want one of the big four quarterbacks. So I knew I was going to go quarterback here. And Jaden Daniels just came off the board ahead of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. I think people are definitely falling for the Jaden Daniels allure of being this running quarterback. I really think that's where it is, right? People expect him to get a lot. Right?
Totally.
But
I mean,
you
he
know
had the
what?
second most rushing yards of all quarterbacks in the NFL last year, Jaden. Like,
And he led all rookies ever in most rushing yards for their
I'm
rookie
going to go with
season.
Lamar Jackson. Don't hate Bills Mafia. I
There's no wrong pick here.
I
Come
know,
on.
There's no wrong pick.
I have been having fun in mock drafts with going with, like, fooling around with which one I want to go with and
Sure.
just see how I like my team at the end. So got myself one of the big four. And now the question is, do I go with the wide receiver? Do I go with the running back?
I dare you to go quarterback again.
I as well. I dare you.
One of them
Well,
hostage.
if it were a super flex league, I would in fact do that. But,
You know, the best thing for your best strength is your good depth, Stephania.
You know where I'm going? I'm going
Dang it! I want him to fall two more picks. I was going to take him.
Yeah, you thought he was going to because James Cook is back in practice and James Cook got his money.
Yes, he
So
did.
congratulations to James Cook. But also, the flip side of the what we talked about.
Stephania took
injury
Amari and
history.
Hampton for the people listening at home. We were just talking
thought
about James
I
Cook.
thought I said it. I said it here.
That's okay. That's all right.
There's also the concern when players don't get enough ramp-up time in the preseason.
Fair.
And we see that the most with running backs.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be interesting to see how much work James Cook gets. That has me a little bit concerned. And who else did I skip over? I can't remember.
Kyron Williams would be the other one.
Yeah. I have my concerns about Kyron Williams, and I can't totally put my finger. It's just because gut call. He's been so good, so high volume. I just don't believe you get away with that much high volume again for
Kyron
him.
Williams, I think, is
the talent.
younger version of James Conner. Like, they don't play the game the exact same way, but they're just unsexy to fantasy managers. They're like, is this the guy I really want to draft
A lot
here?
of it is
Well, he
he's
just went.
tiny.
Kyron Williams did?
Yeah, he. I'm worried about. I'm worried. He had
I was taking him
so
if he didn't.
much volume. He's super talented.
Yeah.
But Omari and Hampton, saw him up close. Built more like a tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my running back.
Yeah.
I was taking a running back because I went wide receiver, tight end, wide receiver. So I would have happily taken Kyron Williams if he made it to me at pick number 37. I ended up going instead with Kenneth Walker III.
How do you feel about that?
Fine, good, solid.
He's
a really talented player. Yeah,
He's going to be injured. Like it's
a couple
he already
games.
is a little bit banged
Zach
up.
Charbonnet is like a legit good running back too. We saw that during their
Here's my
preseason
question.
game.
Do you feel I feel like if I were drafting Kenneth Walker, I would want to make sure I had Zach Charbonnet. Because I'm just not that comfortable that he's already dinged up again.
The approach for people on insurance running backs is always interesting because some people are like, give me the guy that I was going to back up my running back. Some people say, I want the upside. I would rather have an insurance running back from someone else's squad. Field, where do you fall in this?
Oh, well.
Because it's your squad because you're drafting Kenneth Walker the third.
I'll just give my succinct answer, then Stephania can take it from here. To me, it depends on which starting running back I drafted.
Okay.
Correct.
If I got Teflon Don was my RB1, then I'm not taking his insurance policy.
Okay, that's fair.
Teflon Don.
Do I know who that is?
Is there any such
He's a great
person
guy.
at the running back? Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's a great
Okay.
example of where I'm not looking for a backup.
Yep.
But Christian McCaffrey, as much as I believe in him, it's also the position they play and their volume within the offense and what you know about who's behind them.
Yep.
So if Isaac Guerrero comes in, we know that Isaac Guerrero is going to get the workload. So to me, you pick up Isaac Guerrero very, very late. Like it's not costing me a lot, but I know that he will absorb the volume. In other teams, you've got this dispersion of, volume of work around the running back room. So I'm not going to necessarily, if I go, I don't even know if it's real one.
I'm gonna eschew my way around that one for what it's worth.
You know what a shoe is? It's a French shoe.
It's a French shoe. A shoe.
It sounds like you sneeze.
Yeah. That's
His shoe.
Yes! The player
Field
that I
Yates.
wanted made it to me.
All right, so I'm going to quickly recap the board for a bunch of people. For audio listeners, in the end of the fourth round, I went Jalen Hurts, Terry McLaurin, Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker III, Joe Burrow, Garrett Wilson, George Kittle, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, and then Marvin Harrison comes off the board. And Field, you are on the clock.
Junior, to be clear. in
Marvin
case
Harrison
anybody
Jr.,
is like,
you're right,
wow,
his
you
father's
really
not
wanted
there.
Marv. Bounce back. Last night in our draft, Daniel, a 10-team league, the 32nd overall pick. So the person who was picking 8th or 2nd. Oh,
Yes.
dispersed.
No.
Stefania's
Dispersion. Dispersion.
Is a word.
Noun. The act of distributing. Or what?
There you go. All right.
Okay. I was really worried. You know me. Grammar, please. Thought I
course.
made up a word.
Yes. So last night I was dispersing during our draft. I don't even know what that means.
That was the grammar, please.
It's the act of
You're
of
got it. I see
distributing.
it.
Yeah. So last night during our 10-team mock draft, the pick 32. So that's somebody who would not pick again until pick number 49.
Yep.
Ends up taking her 48. Took Travion Henderson. And I thought to
Really?
myself, that's quite early. But he said, hey, I'm not getting him in the 5th round, which is true. I am now legally required to say this every time we do a mock draft show. If you're picking towards one side of the extreme of the other, you got a target you want, you don't bypass that player because that player is not going to be there most likely when you come back around. So Travion Henderson, who, by the way, looked good again over the weekend for the Patriots. I think he had a touchdown run, but he definitely looked good. And Ramondre Stevenson now dealing with an undisclosed injury, but he's just better. Henderson's just a better player. He's a better player. He's a better receiver. He's outstanding in pass protection. This guy is a stud. He is, I would imagine, amongst the biggest preseason ADP winners in all of fantasy football.
Yes, absolutely.
We talked about the jump last week, but it's up there.
Yeah. And I want to just double down on what you said, because I think that there are a lot of people when you are, especially at the turns, right?
Yeah.
You can look at ADP and say, man, I can't take a guy 12 picks early. But you can. Don't be a robot, because when you're picking at the turn, you got to wait so long. Just don't fall victim to being like, boy, this feels early for that guy. If you know he's not going to make it back to you, it's not a reach.
By the way, it's your fantasy team. Who cares? Do what you want.
Thank you, Phil Yates.
Mike has his ultimate draft board, which is available now on ESPN.com, and it's his perfect pick in each round. And he has Travion Henderson in there, which is round 6. But this is a reminder of why preseason ADP is such a tricky construct, right? Because he's not going to be there in round 6 anymore.
No, he will not.
As a matter of fact, Mike's projections have him way up now.
Who are you talking about?
Travion Henderson.
Oh.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to end up going with Xavier Worthy with my pick. Couple picks since Field took Travion Henderson, Patrick Mahomes, Mike Evans, and then I took Xavier Worthy. Right after that, Chuba Hubbard, a guy that I was thinking about. However, when I was looking at this, I pick at 7.
Yep.
There are 3 teams between me and when it's going to come back to me. They both, 2 of the 3 already have 2 running backs.
Yep.
So I decided to bypass the running back position, play a little bit of chicken, see if maybe I can get a running back that comes back to me that I can still be okay with here at this spot. So we'll see how that one works out. After I took Xavier Worthy, Chuba Hubbard, and then DK Metcalf came off the board. I feel like everyone is all over the place on DK Metcalf.
Well, I think he is what he is.
Aaron Rodgers did not inspire fantasy confidence over the last, since he's left the Green Bay Packers. He's not the same quarterback for us as fantasy managers when we think about him as a quarterback for our pass catchers.
Let me get his yearly fantasy finish.
For what it's worth, one of the first year he ended up not playing. He played for 4 snaps, lasted 75 seconds, and then unfortunately went down, was lost for the rest of the season. And I think last year, do we know where he finished last year?
Wide receiver 30 in points per game.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers finished as a 42-year-old.
Yeah, it was not great. But yeah, okay, so wide receiver 30.
Yeah.
Do you think
Points per game.
Do you think that can be, that should be better with Aaron Rodgers? Who else are they throwing the football to?
Well, not only that, but they paid him all that money, and they traded a second-round pick for him.
$30 million.
This is the thing that I'm big on now in the NFL, and I've always been big on it, but I think it's really come into picture a little clearer, come into focus a little bit clearer for me, is that you need to have actions that are followed up by other actions, right? What's the point of going big game hunting for DK Metcalf if you're going to have him just be an accessory of your offense? He needs to be the offense.
Yes.
He needs to be.
Yep.
Because if your evaluation was one that led you to trade pick 51 plus pay DK Metcalf $132 million over 4 years, which, not a math guy, didn't go to Princeton, but I think that's $33 million a year. That's a lot of money, dude.
That's probably a good amount of their salary.
You should be using him a ton.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, since DK Metcalf came off the board, I decided to play chicken with the running back spot, and DeAndre Swift came off to Stephania, even though she already had 2 running backs. So I don't appreciate that very much.
All right, well, I got you back.
Then Calvin Ridley, and then Breece Hall and Zay Flowers, which means if I want a running back, it's
Can
right
I
now
just
pick.
Say why I feel like Calvin Ridley is being overlooked a little
Nice
bit this
pick.
year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and Calvin Ridley back-to-back I think when the whole thing in Atlanta happened, then he was away from football and just kind of under the radar, and then that offense sputtered.
Yep.
He's had back-to-back years of no missed games. Yep. Okay, that's a win in my book, looking at injuries. He's had back-to-back years of over 1,000 receiving yards. And
Me
now,
like your team.
What was that?
Me like
I like your team.
Oh, good. Thank you. I hope the chat likes it too.
They're a tough
Zing.
crowd.
Anyway, I think that with Cam Ward, I've been impressed with Cam Ward in the little bit that we've seen in the preseason, and Calvin Ridley is no question.
Yep.
The top wide receiver for Cam Ward in that offense. So
he will be the guy there. So that ends up being is he your flex player or is he your second wide receiver, Stephania, Calvin Ridley? Calvin Ridley is your second wide receiver. So you got Puka Nacua and Calvin Ridley with Jonathan Taylor, Omarion Hampton, and DeAndre Swift.
And Lamar Jackson is my quarterback.
And Lamar Jackson's pretty good. All right, so since you took those guys, Breece Hall came off the board and Zay Flowers. I ended up going because I was waiting for a running back with David Montgomery. He was the last one of a tier for me, and so I had to make a decision there. But I added David Montgomery to my squad, and then Kyler Murray. Rashee Rice came off the board right after that.
I think I'm out.
And then you went to Jalen Waddle. So 2 things. Yeah. I know that you've been in on Jalen Waddle this year. I want to talk about him, but does this feel too high? What feels appropriate for an ADP right now for Rashee Rice?
Probably a little bit lower than this. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those where it just feels like not good things are coming his way.
Like it feels like every day I get less confidence.
Yeah.
You know, it's going down.
It's so 4 games is awesome, and you have that. The problem is just like your recourse is very minimal with Rashee Rice if you take him, because you're getting the benefit of the first 4 games.
Yep.
You won't be able to trade him once he goes on suspension, assuming there is a suspension, which I think is a safe assumption at this point.
It'd be pennies on the dollar you'd get.
Yeah,
for him.
it's just a tricky one. It's just a really, really hard one to evaluate. I just think there are guys who have too much season-long potential. Jamison Williams, Jalen Waddle, amongst my favorite options that are being drafted right there, that I'm cool with waiting just a little bit on Rashee Rice.
All right, and then you ended up going with Jalen Waddle.
I did, yes. And it wasn't because I already took Tyreek Hill, but it's actually a decent hedge if Tyreek Hill has the downside scenario that I mentioned when I drafted him, right?
Sure.
If Tyreek is Tyreek of last season, perhaps one of the reasons is because Jalen Waddle leapfrogs him, which it wasn't that Jalen Waddle leapfrogged him last year and had this monster season. If he did, he would have gone way sooner than this. But it definitely is within the realm of possibilities for Jalen Waddle. I think we all should be judicious about how much we put into like preseason notes and observations, not because people aren't working remarkably hard, but because we have seen this over time. Like there are guys who light it up in the preseason and then all of a sudden they're just like back to nothing in the regular season, right? And vice versa. But I do think it's notable to me that there has been a lot of momentum and positive coverage surrounding Jalen Waddle. I'm back on the clock and I am going to just do it. I'm taking Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
I don't know, man. I love this offense. Love this offense. They're so remarkably deep. When Chris Godwin comes back, it adds to an already, to me, very, very talented group of pass catchers. Baker's fearless, not a ton of running, but there's just a dash of it that helps build his floor a little bit more. I thought about waiting even longer because Bo Nix, one of my favorite targets, remains on the board as well and might not go until the next pick that I make. But I felt like at this point, the bird in hand beats 2 in the bush. So Baker Mayfield, you are my quarterback.
No one knows what that saying means. We've all heard it before, but every time
I
someone...
think it does,
yeah.
right?
Guys, don't do this to me. We're live. You also don't know what it means, right?
Sure we do.
No, Field, let me ask you one more time. You also don't know what it means, right?
Yes, we do.
What do you mean?
You don't
I'm
know
the
what-
only one that doesn't know what it means?
Let's
You're
walk
bad
through this.
teammates.
You ready to
for
walk
what
through
it's
it for a
worth.
second? You ready to walk through it for a second?
All right, go ahead.
If you have a bird in the hand, right?
Yes.
And there's 2 other birds that are in the bush.
Yes.
There's a chance you could grab both of those birds. There's a chance. There's also a chance that you get neither of those birds.
So you'd rather have the one bird you
The
know
one
is
that
in your
you
hand.
already have in your hand is superior to 2 in the bush.
Today I learned what a bird in the hand versus 2 in the bush means.
Yeah.
But as to where it came from, that I can't recall right at the moment. But
Field,
I did learn it once.
I don't know where it came from, but do you know the guy that came up with it? Do you know where he went to college by any
I do,
chance?
yes. He was a Syracuse grad.
Syracuse guy,
He actually
okay.
interned at ESPN after that.
No!
What?
Oh, I'm so mad. Okay, listen. Guys, we're doing this mock draft. I swear that's why we're doing this show.
What happened?
I'm going to tell everyone. So you took Jalen Waddle, then DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, Aaron Jones, Isaiah Pacheco, Sam Laporta, and Teteroa McMillan came off the board. Okay, so Sam Laporta came off the board. That meant there was one tight end left that I was looking at. Fields, you went with Baker Mayfield. You told us some of the reasons why. And then Cortland Sutton. And I was looking at the players 8, 9, and 10 that were going to pick after me. None of them had a tight end. And I knew that even though I like some of the wide receivers more, if I wanted to grab the guy that was one of the end of my tiers, I was going to have to do it here. And then TJ Hawkinson comes off the board at the pick right before me, which is so frustrating because I wanted TJ Hawkinson. I love my little brother.
Is he little?
No, he's like the big little brother kind of a thing. It's the thing at family reunions. All right.
I'm intrigued by the Cortland Sutton. You know, like I was looking at him going, I might have to just take him if he keeps falling like this.
He is one of those
Not sure
guys.
why people just are not excited about drafting him.
Boring.
Boring, yeah.
A lot of boring stuff in fantasy football.
Ooh, very
this year.
interesting.
Yeah, I really screwed myself by not taking Evan Ingram here. So I went with
Yes,
Jameson
you really
Williams,
did.
and then Evan Ingram comes off the board, and now I'm just going to punt on tight end altogether.
You have
Just
to have one
forget
at
the
some point.
position.
We're
Give
only
me-
drafting 2 bench spots, by the way, for
here's-
those that are listening right now. 2 bench spots only. So you do actually have to draft a tight end.
I know.
I was going to
Ugh.
take Evan Ingram here, and I thought, I'm going to be so clever, and I'm
Yeah.
going to take Evan Ingram before some of the other tight ends still on the board. And somebody else out-clevered me. That
Yeah.
is
Just
not
for
a
the
word.
record, you still are very clever.
Nah, I don't know about that. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm probably going to surprise people.
You take that old man?
Yeah. Well, there's
not-
only,
Jason
only
Chris
old men left.
Boswell.
Yeah. I was going to say.
leave that one where it
Brent
is.
Jones still
There
playing
you go.
football.
Aubrey. Take Aubrey. You love Aubrey, right?
I do.
Again
I could
this
take him
year
as
or
my
no?
flag. Aubrey?
Yeah.
Love Aubrey. Of
course,
who's
the
my other
Cowboys
flex,
hooker,
Debbie? I
Brandon
know
Aubrey,
I'm going to
yeah.
take. I'm going to take Rome because I love him, and I've already been on record.
Stephania,
saying
one of
I
my
think
favorites.
that he is going to be. He is going to be the wide receiver one when it's all said and done in Chicago. Mark Andrews, a lot of hate, especially from Mike Clay. Here's the thing. I just want to remind people, Mark Andrews came into last year banged up. Now, we never really got the details on it, but he was in a car accident that I think was more serious than what we ever heard about. And it gave him a rough start to the season. And he had been coming off that massive ankle injury and surgery that he had to end the prior year. So I think it took him a long time to get going. We saw Isaiah Likely getting a lot of the spotlight. But then later in the year, it seemed like Lamar and Mark Andrews were finding that sweet spot again. Isaiah Likely is out right now with an injury. I think Mark Andrews is still going to be very valuable to my quarterback, Lamar Jackson, when we get to the, when they get in the red zone.
Have an important update here.
Uh-oh.
The proverb of a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush has its origins in medieval falconry.
What?
Falcon.
Medieval falconry. Wow. Where a bird in hand was more valuable than two in the bush. The earliest known usage in the English language is in the 15th century in The Life of St. Catherine by John Capgrave.
Okay. Well, you know what?
It sounds like something from Chaucer or something.
It does.
Like the old
Chaucer?
time.
Yeah, I believe Chaucer's an author.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now you guys are above.
Jeffrey Chaucer, Gregory Chaucer, Jeffrey Chaucer. Yeah.
Yes.
Gregory.
Didn't you have to read that in school?
No, Stephania, we didn't have to read when I was in high school. You know they don't teach kids cursive anymore?
That is insane to me.
Anyways,
We can
don't get
have
us
that
on an old
there.
man rant here. All right, so listen.
Fist at cloud.
After you took Roma Dunze, Travis Kelce came off the board. The tight end run just continued.
It sure does, Daniel. And by the way, somebody took the guy that I was looking to take next, which is Travis Hunter. Of course,
That's
I love
tough.
the upside of that player. So I am taking Matthew Golden, player who continues to rise as well. Not quite to the level of Travion Henderson.
He's
but
going to
we're
be the only
seeing
one
value.
left standing in that
He
wide
almost
receiver
is
room.
right now.
Yeah.
He's Will Smith, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meme right now.
Yeah.
Stephania, I wanted to go back to the Jalen Waddle, Roma Dunze thing here because I think to me they represent a similar situation in the sense that by pedigree, reputation, past production, and pay, there is a clear wide receiver one in Miami and Chicago, Tyreek Hill and DJ Moore.
Correct.
I don't think the delta between those players and the guys who are right behind them is accurate in terms of ADP versus potential production. Like the gap is
Well
way
said.
large, right?
Plus, you use the word delta,
Delta.
which is a math term in this situation.
Yes.
Very impressive.
Yes. So I think that the gap is just too large right now in ADP between those two guys that I think as though that's a very, very I like Stephania's pick of Roma Dunze very much.
I want to say this, Field Yates. When I'm looking at your squad right now, you're really channeling your inner Al Davis because your wide receivers are Matthew Golden, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle. You're like, just
Super
give me the
fat.
speed.
Right. Justin Jefferson's the slow one.
He is, right? Yeah, like, you know when he's the slow guy that you've got
Honestly,
some
it kind of
wheels on your
applies to
team.
all of them. Travion Henderson's fast.
He's
Brock Bowers is fast.
That's what I'm saying. You've got your inner Al Davis going on right
all right.
now.
Well, next picks, I gotta make somebody find someone fast.
All right, coming off of the Matthew Golden pick was David Njoku, Chris Olave, Bo Nix, RJ Harvey, Brock Purdy, and then Tyrone Tracy. That's sort of where we're at with the people on the board here. A little bit of a drop
I got
off.
one for you. I'm doing something funny here. Something interesting. I'm taking Brian Robinson Jr. with my last pick. And by the way, there's some reporting that Brian Robinson Jr. could be on the block.
Yep.
Let me throw a hypothetical trade out there that I actually think would be awesome.
Let me.
Go. You go.
No. Go ahead.
Brian Robinson is traded from the Washington Commanders to the Houston Texans.
They need it.
Who loses there?
Interesting.
You were
Nobody.
thinking
Yeah, yeah.
Cowboys, weren't you?
Uh,
Because that's been thrown out there a lot, but how likely are the Commanders to help out the Cowboys?
I actually thought it might be the Niners, just because they need
Niners? I
somebody
can
to
see that
do.
one
You
too.
know, because
Yeah.
they have they're thin, although they do expect their guys back.
Right. I
so
guess it
maybe
just
not.
depends on is
And they had
Garendo.
relationship. Adam Peters
Yep.
did.
Totally.
John Lynch.
Like that thought
But-
too. But also,
But
it's not
the
me.
Texans, yes,
Yeah,
and
they're
I
even
would
bad.
be shocked if the Texans don't make a move.
Yeah, Woody Marks probably is a name that we need to talk about
Yep.
more based off the preseason, their 5th-round pick, Joquavius Woody Marks from most recently USC, but he played his first couple years at Mississippi State. But I took Brian Robinson here because if he is, in fact, traded at some point
Yep.
and he lands somewhere juicy,
Good thinking.
like I think I'd be into that, right? If he goes to, I'm just throwing this out there, as I mentioned, the Texans or the Cowboys, which I think is very unlikely, but I guess nothing can be totally dismissed in today's NFL, where we have seen more and more teams just do things because it benefits their roster as opposed to be worrying about how it benefits the other roster. So, yeah, I'm in on Brian Robinson with my last pick of the draft.
You know, I was going to say something about this because I have a tight end. Oh, I should have taken a tight end there. I accidentally drafted Caleb Johnson. That was my bad. For what it's worth, I should have drafted a tight end. The tight end I would have drafted probably would have been Colston Loveland to be able to get him. I did want to say this, though, Phil, because I noticed in our draft that we did yesterday, you drafted, I think, with your second to last pick, Ja'Cory, I'm going to say his name wrong.
Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Yes, and it all ties together.
I'm glad that you brought that up.
Krosky-Merritt was a 6th-round pick this year. Interesting college career. So he began, I want to say it was New Mexico or Arkansas State. Arkansas State to start. Sorry, Stephania. Goes to New Mexico. Goes to Arizona, where he was going to play for a full season for Jedd Fish.
Yep.
Jedd Fish leaves. He ends up staying in Arizona. Maybe he didn't commit to Jedd Fish. I don't know why I brought that up. It's irrelevant. Jedd Fish is an awesome college coach, though. Washington's going to be good this year.
It's because you know all the silly things in your brain.
Correct.
That's why.
But I'm a huge Jedd Fish fan just in general. So Krosky-Merritt goes to Arizona. He plays one of, if not the very first game of the season, and then is ruled ineligible for the rest of the year.
Okay.
So he doesn't play last year, but he's trying to get back into college football. He ends up going to the Shrine Bowl late in the week, shows up like a day before the Shrine Bowl, and then has like over 100 yards rushing. He is a super, super athlete. This guy is a sick runner. I have some questions about like the instincts and some of the stuff that goes kind of beyond the height, weight, and the speed. That being said, like, he's had a great preseason by all accounts, and if Brian Robinson is traded, he is at worst the 1B in that backfield.
Yeah. I mean, it would just be him and Austin Eckler, it feels like, is the main guys from that offense. All right, so this draft has officially wrapped with where we are at. Again, we were only doing 2 bench spots. I was supposed to have taken Colston Loveland. I forgot we were only doing 2 bench spots, so I took a 3rd running back. I was not supposed to have done that. Don't do the things that I do. Please pay more attention in your drafts and know your rules. Great time to say know your draft order and know your rules. All right, Stephania, let's start with you. Let's throw your team up there and talk about your squad, where you decided to go, and how you feel about it.
Yeah, I feel pretty darn good about my squad. You guys know I love drafting at the turn. I feel like it's a place where you
now I know
sort
why.
of set the tone.
Yeah.
And I feel like I did that. I was very happy. It allowed me, just the strategy-wise, it allowed me to get one of the big 4 quarterbacks, which I want if I can do it. Kind of like Mike Clay in that regard. I want one of the big 4, and then if I don't get that person, I'm going to wait quite a bit longer to get a quarterback.
Is that the only way that you want to be like Mike Clay, though, in life?
Yes, absolutely.
That's it.
Just wanted to clarify that.
Believe me, I don't want to be restricted to Savi B. Like,
That's right.
it's
Got to have a wider
not
palette
happening.
than that.
Yeah,
You know, Mike sent me a picture over the weekend of this air foam margarita.
yeah.
The heck is this stuff?
I don't know. We're trying to get. Apparently, he's trying to broaden his horizons, but he still needs a lot of help.
He said, I think it was something about like it's better for you than like salt rims or something. I have a take. When I'm drinking a booze beverage, I don't care about like, I'll take a skinny marg. I don't care. You think it makes it better for you? You think all of a sudden you're healthy because you're drinking a skinny marg?
I don't think healthy is the right word. Maybe not as.
Yeah, you don't mind having several if you feel like you're ingesting fewer calories. You don't need to worry about it because your physique.
Oh, stop.
Wait 20 years.
All right. Stop.
I'll take one skinny marg, hold the skinny in the marg. I'll just take a glass of water instead.
There you go. All right, Phil, let's talk your squad real
We
quickly.
can't even get through because we're all Bahamar. Like,
We're
thinking
thinking
about
about
our
it.
drinks.
We're ready.
In
my
Bahamas.
mind,
But there really, what else could you say about my team? It was pretty good.
It was a fantastic squad. I think chat really liked it so far. I'm going to save it for the end. We'll see
Okay.
if anyone can
All right.
swing the chat's vote.
My squad is as follows, coming from pick 4, where I fat-thumbed it, and I was, hey, I'm taking Saquon Barkley. I instead took Justin Jefferson. So here is my team. Baker
Imagine
Mayfield.
That's your fallback.
Yeah. Yes.
Your ex-
I had to settle for
Justin
Justin. I had to settle for the most prolific receiver in NFL history through the first 5 years of his career.
Yeah, no kidding.
Baker under center, Kenneth Walker III, and Travion Henderson. So the big push up the board for Henderson continues. And then my wide receivers, my pass catchers are the strength of this roster.
Yep.
Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Brock Bowers, my 2nd round pick, with Jalen Waddle as my flex, Matthew Golden, and Brian Robinson Jr. as my 2 bench options. So if those guys all see the volume I expect them to, then this team looks really good. To me, the 2 players that will determine this roster, Tyreek Hill, as I talked about earlier, and Travion Henderson. Because at some point, the hype might be getting a little bit too far out of control if Ramondre Stevenson still has a real role.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I took him at the top or the middle of the 5th. I felt fine with that. But we're going to continue to see Henderson go early and early and early.
That's one of the things you always want to be careful of, especially with the rookies, is like that hype train can sometimes get moving a little too quickly and push that ADP into a spot that I'm not comfortable with. All right, if we look at my squad, I ended up going, let's just pretend there's a tight end in that spot. All right, guys? All right.
You can't win this.
No.
You
Hold
tried
on,
to
Stephania.
sway the chat
Hey,
ahead of time.
I said
but
nice
you
stuff
have a
about
blank.
you.
I know, but I can't help you with your blank spot.
I'm not asking you to help me. I just want to be able to say my team. I ended up going with Jalen Hurts at the quarterback spot, Derrick Henry and David Montgomery. By the way, each one of those first 3 guys are each going to have at least 10 rushing touchdowns. I have so much rushing upside on my squad because of that.
Really do.
Then CeeDee Lamb and Devontae Adams with Xavier Worthy, Jamison Williams, Tony Pollard, and I went with Caleb Johnson because that's what I would have done because I was at a point in the draft where like all the other tight ends had come off. So I was just in wait mode. I was going to take him in like round 14. I forgot that we were doing a truncated version of the draft.
Tony Pollard could be huge value, by the way.
I like him.
He's also Tajay Spears hurt right now. Tony Pollard's it.
When I look at this, though, Stephania, I'm going to throw this out there. 53% of our chat say that you schooled Field and I with the best draft today.
Schooled. I also taught you a word.
Yes, that's right.
Taught myself a word.
Chat said 45% was me, and then 2% was Field. So
is that right? I need to go review. The
I think
chat
Chapin
numbers.
and Mama Yates are listening back home. That's why.
It's okay.
So, hey, this was fun. We're gonna do more of these.
It was fun. It was fast too.
Yeah.
See how quickly you can do mock
Question
drafts
for you
and
guys.
practice.
We have like 2 minutes left, so this will be a quick question, truthfully. Are you more of a pace drafter or are you more of a like take your time and like think through every pick?
I get
It depends
caught up
on the
in
league.
pace.
Depends on the league.
Yeah, if the league's moving quick.
If the league is like our War Room League where it's 16 teams, I want to think. I get stressed because I know once I hit submit, like I got to wait so long. It's so painful. When I'm playing in smaller league, 10 team, 12 team, I know there's going to be a lot of waiver options. I'm not as worried about who I commit to in the draft.
Yep.
So then I'm fast.
I want to say this, Field, because it's a great question. I actually think that it's a strategy that I employ because you and I mean, we've done 40 mock drafts together over the course of the offseason. And then these mock drafts we've done on the show, I've done over 60 best ball drafts as well. Like I feel confident and comfortable with the directions that I want to go. Yeah. So even if a guy comes off the board, I don't mind picking quickly because I know where I'm going to want to pivot in order to like put someone else on the hot seat and be like, oh no, what do I do there? So I like picking, like with a little bit of speed.
I get it. Yeah, I pick fast.
Is that because you're over caffeinated? Is that why?
Probably, yeah. No, I mean, the downside is you can fat thumb it and take Saquon Barkley, not at forward, instead take Justin.
You can also with too much time. You can second guess yourself. You can run into trouble that way.
You start thinking
I understand.
too much.
Yeah, it's almost instinctively like, who do you like?
Yep.
Who do you like?
I agree.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for our mock draft show. We will be back
Draft
tomorrow
Monday.
with more here. We love Mock Draft Monday on the show.
Let's go.
Don't forget to love each other, be kind to yourself, and we will see you guys tomorrow.